boobs out. It's pulling the boobs back. Oh my God, I'm all over the place. Welcome everybody. As I'm straightening myself out, I don't know how to straighten this up because everything's opposite on there. Okay, that's like, I could have done this before I got on here, but hey, I didn't. So welcome to the first 33 seconds of me straightening myself out. Yeah. So welcome to the full moon in Capricorn. So let's get into this. Her connection again. What the fuck? Okay, and now. Man, stop the music. Let's just stop it. Let's just go. All right. Welcome. Welcome. Let's see if I can do a little reel. Whoa. Reel. Okay, create a longer reel, 3 minutes. Camera. We're going to do sparkles. There we go. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and happy full moon to everybody, and everybody on TikTok and everybody on, I don't know why I said TikTok, but Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever you are in this beautiful big blue planet and this beautiful full moon. Yeah, I can't get live onto Instagram right now. So if you're trying to get on Instagram to see me, I can't do live for whatever reason. It just says I have a poor connection. But hey, that's just the way things are going right now. So we're going to get into this full moon, have my notes here, and let's take a look. You know, there's so much that's going on. And if you want to get the full of this and you're watching this on Instagram, go over to my YouTube, Mary June Tracy, and like and subscribe and take a look over there to see what's going on and what's this all about. Because this Pluto full moon, that's what I'm going to call it, the Pluto full moon in Capricorn, is a releasing moon. And it is a moon which you're going to have to figure things out. You know, this is really a moon to look at and how things are put in place and how things may be starting, or maybe that will be starting to crumble. Hi, Kathy. Welcome. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever I just had to do a little thing on Instagram. I can't get on Instagram right now. So it says I have a poor connection. And so maybe after I did that, maybe it'll let me do it now. I don't know, but we'll see. So, but yeah, it's this. This is where, no, I can't get on. And now discard. There we go. Screw it. This is where I feel like this full moon in Capricorn is a very powerful one. It is one, especially when it's conjunct at Pluto 0 degrees. Now, 0 degrees in any sign, that's sort of the purity of the sign. I mean, you get the full brunt of whatever that sign is. And Pluto there is at 0 degrees. And this is where, and I wrote in, look at, I wrote in ink that I'm like, yes, it's so pretty. But then when I go try to read it, it's like, oh, okay. Then it ran out and I went into pink. So not a really good thing. But I feel like this full moon is, as I say, it's impactful. And it is a changing moon. This full moon is where it's about preparation, to be fully prepared for whatever it is that you are wanting to do. And this is the structures, because the structures around us are going to be crumbling. Now, I mentioned that even a couple years ago, and that was with that back in 2020 with the Saturn Pluto conjunction and all of the shit that came down from that. That was the starting of structures crumbling. That was the starting of, of air travel. That was the end of air travel and how we think it is, and school systems, and how what we thought school systems were. I mean, we saw how things, happened after 2020, and how the schools really changed in how they wanted students to be, and the whole bit, to what has happened recently upon the college and universities. So we're starting to see these structures really crumble, and same with air flight. They're not making new airplanes, so you're finding also delays, and then with everything that's happened with the latest kerfuffle with the blue screen. So it's not that's not the end of it. There's still more to come. And so when it comes to travel and you're planning to travel anywhere, you're going to find it harder and harder to get to your destination, or you're going to have longer waits to get to where you want to go. So this is about finding the comfort. And sometimes within the comfort we go into the immature way of finding the comfort, like we need, we need this blanket, and we need that blanket, and I need to have these shoes, not those shoes, and I need to have, this picture to be with me, or whatever it is. It's not the essentials. And that's where Capricorn is. Capricorn's about the essentials. Pack what you need, get what you need, let's get going. And you don't need to have, when people pack to go on, say, a trip, and they pack how many bags, right? And you get to your destination, and you wear half of the things. You don't even wear half the things. You wear maybe two or three outfits, and then that's it, right? Because you just like, well, maybe. This full moon in Capricorn is not about maybe. It's about, no, this is what is. This is what we need to do. And no one's going to be carrying your bags for you. You got to carry all your bags on your own. So if you're going to carry that extra baggage, if you're carrying that extra baggage, hey, Dwayne, um, it's not going to work. So you got to carry what is essential, right? And how this is, and how we're taken care of. That's it. How are we taking care of ourselves? The world, which is not going to be, this is not going to be the world that you thought it was going to be. Pluto still has to ingress back into Capricorn, and that's happening in September. So we have where we are going to get this final look of the craziness of the world around us. And we are going to really see how things do not come together, do not, fall into line. And we're going to see, the bottom drop out of a lot of things in our life. And you can see, and it's almost like Pluto lets you see. Pluto lets you see since 2008. Pluto has let you see the erosion, and it's a slow eroding energy. And it's letting you see, okay, this is slowly, you got your house on the cliff, but every year you lose, a couple inches off the edge of the cliff and off the edge of the cliff. There's I think it's in Dover in the UK, where they are showing where houses used to be, where this one house used to be miles away from the shore, like from the end of the cliff, right? And now it's like half a mile away. And they said, and the house was, when we built, they interviewed the people, and they said when they built the house, they built it back in, I think it was because there's a new neighborhood being built and stuff like that. Anyways, so like 70s or something like that. So this erosion's been happening for a long time. And so, but the thing is that Pluto's coming in, and now it's saying, well, I'm only half a mile away. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to stay in that house? And you might say, well, that's the only place I can live. I can't sell my house. I can't do anything. So you're going to wake up one morning, and that erosion is going to be right on your doorstep. Same with a lot of homes that you see that are built in California right on the cliffs, right? So you see these beautiful homes on the cliff, and every year there's erosion. Every year there's, part of it's, falling away. And was it last year there was a whole neighborhood where people woke up and their house just fell down. And it was zoned, and they said it was zoned as a safe zone, right? But the erosion was underneath and the things were starting to come underneath. So this is where people have to start looking at being prepared and knowing that the old world and the new world is not going to look alike. It's going to be totally different. And we need to be not afraid, but we need to be curious about it. This is where Pluto is the farthest away it's ever been, right? And that's why it's taking so long to go through all of these signs. It's because when it um, went under, and that was back in 2017, 28. Pluto was very quick, went into Leo, after World War II. And, as it was in Gemini, like things were coming, innovation was coming, newness was happening, people were traveling, travel was fabulous. You wore beautiful clothes to go travel. The stewardess all, looked so beautiful when, you had to look a certain way to be a stewardess. And how your house was, everything, right? And everybody had like at least 3 children. And was a time of growth, and Pluto moved through that very quickly and moved through that very quickly. In 2017, 2018, we saw where Pluto went down and went under. And as it went under, it was where it became the farthest out. When it's in Aquarius, it's the furthest out. This is where we're going to see where a decade's going to feel like 100 years. It's going to take longer for things to happen and to be created, even though we think it's going to happen. Oh no, everything. This is the time of huge growth, evolution, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's going to be there, but it's going to take longer for it to be implemented, longer for the things to go. When it comes to air travel, I think by 2032, we're probably going to be taking boats again. It's going to be harder for people to get on a plane, or if there is going to be planes, there's going to be issues with them. So this is where we, as I say, need to be curious. And this is what this moon is doing. This moon is getting you to really look at and highlight the things in your life. This is where great ideas, doesn't mean you have to implement them right now, but this is where you have to get in to feel them, feel the ideas, and be in a good emotional place with them. This is where you're not to freak out, because we do have a Mercury square in Uranus, and it's going to square it 2 more times. And this could bring in freakouts. This is the lower of our consciousness and the higher consciousness, with Uranus. So, and it's squaring. So it's giving you a challenge on how you look at things and how you want things to look, and that it may not look the way that you want it to look. This full moon is really getting us to take note of things in our life, take note of the things that are around us. And this is where a lot, especially where with Saturn and then with Neptune retrograde, and it's bringing in, a lot to do with the subconscious. This is where people, think, oh, I can surrender, but how are you surrendering? Don't be surrendering to a bottle of wine, or don't be surrendering to a line of Coke, right? And thinking, oh, well, I'm just going to surrender and just take the time out. No, because you're going to find that things are going to go wrong. Things are not going to go into that alignment. So this is to keep, not giving, this is allowing us to keep going and not really give a fuck, like this is like really having us to look at the shadow and watching, as I said, watching how you're surrendering, because we do have Neptune retrograde and we have Saturn retrograde, and it's in Pisces. It's not about surrendering and just saying, oh, let me forget about things. That's not it. And then with this full moon, with Pluto there's a lot of erosion that is going to start falling apart. And this is where we're going to start to witness a lot more. Pluto has ingressed back and forth into Capricorn 4 times. and it's going to go back into Aquarius 4 times. And after November, we're really going to feel the impact of what that ingress is and how the world is going to change. And we're going to really feel it in March of next year. This is where, when we found the wanted to have that safety and security, was that Capricorn Cancer access in 2020, and the nodes were there, and the Saturn Pluto conjunction, and then all hell broke loose. That's where all the shit went down. So this is where people got lost in recognition, people got lost in the big scheme, and they're thinking that Aquarius, oh, social life, connection, you know, Aquarius is about friends you see, and the people that you meet once in a while. Random people you meet. Capricorn are the people you need to meet to make big things happen. That's what Capricorn is. Capricorn is the meeting place. Let's gather, let's get the people, let's get it concrete. Then we can take it into Aquarius because we have our community, we have our gathering, we have that group so that we can allow for things to grow within Aquarius, expand within Aquarius. But if we don't have that before we go into Aquarius, it's going to be kind of all over the place for a lot of people. And that's where you're going to find anxiety. That's where you're going to find stress levels. That's where you're going to find a lot of mental illness. That's where you're going to find a lot of addictions starting to come up and plague the world. This is where you're going to find, especially craziness happen within the world. And it's being laid out. I mean, out of all the people they arrested in Leeds was a white woman, a white woman who is a Brit. Like her family, everybody, she was British. None of the others who actually started it did they arrest or go after. This is awakening. This is like, holy shit. Censorship after this Pluto, or after this new moon, or full moon, I should say, we got to be careful in what we say. This is where habeas corpus was taken away, and that was under Lincoln, and it was taken away under George Bush, and it's being taken away from us here in Canada through the censorship laws. And we're going to see it going forward. So if you can't speak in kind of script and have your people understand what kind of script you're talking about or what you are posting, and this is a huge warning for people. And if you think that you're safe on all these other platforms, I can't remember the one platform that a lot of people go to and they say, oh yeah, this is good, this is where I get my information from. No, 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 no. You're not safe on any platform unless it's like a kind of like a subscription one where you like I belong to an astrology one where you can go in and they have their bylaws and everything else that you abide from. But there you can say things a lot more freely. The person can post things and talk about things more freely. You're not going to find it on YouTube. You're not going to find it on Instagram. You're not going to find it on TikTok. You're going to find more, and especially over the next 2 weeks, how things are going to just really start to clamp down. So you have to be strong with who you are. And this is where this moon is. It's getting strong, looking at what it is, what your needs are, what are the things that you have, and what are the things that you need. And this is where the systems, looking at the systems that really do not back you. I mean, the last 4 years, I think we've seen more come down about censorship than any other time in our life. And this is where, especially with the next 2 weeks, with the moon waning, with the moon is going to be waning, and then we have the sun ingressing into Leo. This is about willpower and looking at the facts. And especially when you have a Jupiter in Gemini, it's looking at the facts, looking at the things, knowing the things that you need to know, knowing some of the laws, having an idea of what's going on. And I know we're at the end of Capricorn. Nobody gives a shit about politics. They're tired of the politics. They're tired of all the rhetoric. They're tired of all the bullshit. But that's the thing. You got to find that willpower and that strength to understand. You can't just go and sit around and hide your head in the corner and just watch Netflix. You have to know, you have to see. You can't just say, "Oh, fuck it. Oh, that's just too much. That's my You can't do that. And sometimes it feels like a lot. But this is where it's like, okay, I got to take it. I got to have my faith. Where's my spiritual strength? Where's my faith in God? Because I know what's going on. We're seeing the evil. We're seeing the good. We're seeing it in our face. And it's being shown to us. No political side is good. Just saying. No one has the full answer. You just have to choose the lesser of two evils, basically, with it all. And that's the thing. So this is where it's like, everyone is sick of it. But this is where we're going to have to come in to our own selves and come into that strength and what we need to come into. Now, a lot of people, and I've seen a few predictions, Biden's going to go out with this moon. I don't see it. There's still something crazy going on there. I can't see him going anywhere yet. Might see something coming in the next three weeks. I'm going to say 3 weeks. But the other thing too is, if you looked at when his inauguration, he didn't have a 4-gun salute. He had a 3-gun salute. He doesn't have none of the military wore the insignia. The other part too is that there was a bipartisan election that went on and games that were being played. So with the bipartisan that went on, there was 4 different scenarios. And one of the scenarios were that he only won by a small margin. It's interesting. And that's one of the reasons why you don't see the insignia, because there was no president in the last 4 years. You can look into, a lot of Americans can look into their laws and look into what's happening, but that's what you're seeing. Because if the military is not wearing the insignia, then it isn't the military. If the president doesn't get a 4-gun salute, it's not the president. So, and it also was warning of an alien infiltration into the White House. So there is so much there that went on that, people were very unaware. People didn't want to pay attention to. But here we come. Remember, because Pluto is that slow erosion. It's showing you. This is the shit that's going on. Are you watching? Are you watching here in Canada the shit that's going on? Everything that our prime minister has done and then tried to retract on how he has belittled his people, how he threw his whole community of Canada under the bus, and the things that he said to people. So this is really looking at how things are going to come forth. This full moon, as I say, the universe, the astrology just doesn't happen by chance. There's a reason for things when they set up, and there's a reason for it to be with Pluto. And as it is, this is really, I'm going to say, the last wake-up call for people. Because as we go forward, we're going to see a lot more disruption within the world around us. We're going to see a lot more of bombings, war. We're going to see a lot more restrictions being played upon us. I'm not going to say we're going to get locked down, but I'm going to say restrictions in what you can buy, when you can buy, stores not being available when you want them to be available, because they can't have people in the stores as long because they may not be able to get the staff, or they can't afford to pay the staff. We're going to find that, I think gas just went up to $1.64, $1.69 here in Calgary. So we're going to see the prices going up higher. So people are going to be, oh my God, I can't really afford to fill up my my 4x4 truck. I can't afford to fill this up right now. I can only afford to fill it up and go to work and come home, and then that's it. So limiting, what we can do and where we can go. This full moon is getting you to look at, okay, what do I need to prepare for? Am I prepared? Am I prepared for hypothetically a water shutdown, drought? Am I prepared for when the electricity goes out? Do I have a radio? Are you prepared for when the internet goes out? They just did that in Bangladesh. They just cut everybody off. They closed down all of the internet in Bangladesh because the population, there's so many people there and so many people out of work that they are protesting. You know, it's not like people don't want to work, they want to work, but the government is restricting it. People, in England, you think it's going to go down, it's just going to get crazier. And on July 27th, that's in just, 6 more days, there's going to be a huge rally in the UK of Britannians coming together, gathering, and they don't want that. So that's going to be an interesting how that's going to play out and what the police are going to do. They have everything. They have some of the biggest screens coming in, and and it's in, I can't pronounce it. It's in the big square in London, to Trafalgar Square, Trafalgar. I can't say it, but it's in the square. So
You gonna go with me?
I got a reading in 45 minutes.
Well, best I go by myself. Okay?
I guess so.
I'll go check my lottery and so how much money
I'm on a live. If you wait 5 minutes, please.
Yeah, I will.
My husband's very impatient. He loves to have these conversations with me while I'm live. So, that's funny because my family just thinks just drop everything just for them. So, but that's not how it works, baby. So, but it's that frequencies that are coming in to create the changes that we need to create in our lives. And in creating those frequencies and creating those changes are going to be important. So I'm going to say over the next 2 weeks, hang on. It's going to get very bumpy. It's going to get crazy. It's going to get crazier. We are going to find slowly how restrictions are going to start creeping into our lives and to how we do things. I'm still going to be here until it turns down. I don't have a separate platform, unfortunately. And so I'll probably speak encryptically how I do things. And I'm going to say out to all of my people who are astrologers, who are people who are the spiritualists and go out there and do things. Yeah, definitely being targeted. I haven't been able to advertise in years on Facebook or Instagram or any of the other platforms. They stopped me from advertising or putting up any ads and stuff on Facebook, like because my logo was pornography, and then the way I was wording things was against bylaws and all kinds of things. So you're going to find a lot more restrictions on things like that. And even when people are doing readings on TikToks, you're going to find where restrictions are going to go, or their platform is going to get taken down, just weird things. So just be prepared for that. And you got to be strong because we're entering into some crazy, crazy times. And this full moon is triggering it all and bringing it forth. So, and the end of something, especially, the last 16 years of being in Capricorn, the end of something is not going to be easy, because we're going to see a lot where, like here in Calgary, where people are getting pissed off at the mayor more and more. Another water main broke in Bowness. So why is this happening? Why are all these things going on? I'm not saying somebody's doing it on purpose, but there's reasonings because people pay enough taxes here in Calgary that they feel like I pay enough taxes that this shouldn't happen, right? And that's within other places. There's places in the United States where somebody's been paying $8,000 a year for their taxes and they've been doing it for a long time. Now it's $28,000 a year. Could you imagine your taxes going up 28 to 28 from 8 to 28? Where people are going to find the money? This is what, it's you're finding that where, oh, well, then I guess the city's going to get it or the big companies are going to get we're going to be seeing these things, right? And that's why it's about strength. It's about having your spiritual will and making sure that you are staying spiritually sound. So a few things are going on that I am thinking of what I want to do and groups I want to gather. And I just have to play it out and see how I feel about it before I actually come out and promote it. So I have to sort of waiting and seeing how I feel about a lot of things with that. Yeah, because the restrictions are there. So being careful, being sound with what you are doing, watching how you are keeping hold of the things in your life and also within your health. And yeah, the balance may be a little bit difficult to find. You might be finding that you're just a little bit all over the place. So looking for that place, where do you ground? Where do you come back to the peace within your life? And there is going to be light at the end of the tunnel, but it's going to be a little bit of a difficult ride with all of this. And finding that is going to be something um, where it's going to be more difficult. So your power is limitless. Remember that, as your paths an infinite potential. So know that you have it, but you might be feeling of guilt that are plaguing your mind. So watching the procrastination, watching the self-doubt, right? So be careful in your thoughts because your thoughts become things. Watching how you're projecting things and how things are being projected out there, and coming back and taking that step back so that you can be able to step into um not being in that judgment of what you are and who you are. So it's about finding that balance. There's a question with the Temperance I want to find. Just 1 second. She's hiding. She doesn't want to come out. Take some time to look ahead and envision your future. There's much to look forward to. So definitely much to look forward to, but even under restrictions, you got to look at what is missing. Are you obsessing over something that is taking over other areas of your life? So watch what you are obsessing about, because things can work out. Capricorn in this last full moon is letting you know that things can take 50 years to do, right? Capricorn wants to get the job done, but it wants to get the job done properly. So it wants to have what it needs to get the job right. When I watch these guys do their chateaus, and one guy, Billy from the Pethricks, he's like, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this right. Like, it's like he's redoing an old convent, right? That was built, I think, in the late 1700s, 1800s, and redoing it. And it's had reconstruction in it, in the 60s and 70s and stuff. But he's going in and he's, taking things apart, redoing it, making sure it's done properly. Even though, you might think, oh, just slap it on. No one's going to notice. You already got, the walls are thick, blah, blah, blah. You can do that. But the thing is that it's what you know inside. I did a good job. I'm doing this properly because I know this is the right thing to do. I'm doing this because, you know what? I am looking at what is missing in my life and I want to fulfill something that is positive. So don't get hung up like, oh, I need to have it now, or I need to do this way. Take your time, look at it, meditate on it. All right. Make sure you have the tools that you need to go forward. And if you don't, maybe you have to look at, how can I get them? How can I acquire them? And go forward with that. So there you go. Have a blessed one. If you're wanting to book in a reading or you're wanting to book in natal chart reading and look at your chart personally and seeing how these energies and frequencies are coming in on your chart, definitely book in, get a hold of me, direct message me, and we will talk to you soon. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all you say and all you be and all you do. Blessed be everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.